There are moments in the unseen architecture of connection when something shifts without announcement, without drama, without the clarity we so often crave. And this is one of those moments, a turning point that occurred not in the visible world, but in the inner chambers of another soul, a decision made in the privacy of their own reckoning. Perhaps in the last few hours, perhaps in the soft collapse of resistance that comes when someone finally stops running from what they know to be true. The angels do not speak in certainties or guarantees, but they do speak in whispers of movement, and right now, they're leaning close to tell you that something has been decided, not in your favor or against it, but simply decided, a shift in the energetic current that has been flowing between you and this person, this soul you have thought of, wondered about, perhaps even ached for in the quiet hours when the world feels too vast, and your heart too small to hold all that you feel. You may not see evidence of this shift immediately, and that is where trust must live. Not in the external world rushing to confirm what you hope for, but in the subtle knowing that resides in your own body. The way your breath changes when you think of them now, the way the heaviness has begun to lift just slightly, as if the air around you has become more breathable, more forgiving. This is not about them coming back, rushing toward you with apologies or declarations. This is about an internal threshold they have crossed, a place where denial becomes unsustainable, where the heart begins to override the mind's protective strategies, and where the soul, in its quiet insistence, starts to make itself heard above the noise of fear and doubt. The angels want you to know this not so you can wait with bated breath for a message, a sign, a knock at the door, but so you can understand that you are not imagining a connection. You are not delusional in your knowing, and that what has lived between you has never been one-sided, even when it's felt unbearably so. There is a tenderness in this acknowledgement, a validation that what you have felt has been real, has been seen, has been held in the higher dimensions of love, even when the earthly plane could not yet accommodate it. And so you are here now, in the sacred in-between, this liminal space where something has shifted but nothing has yet materialized, and the angels ask you to breathe here, to let yourself rest in this knowing without needing to control what comes next, without needing to force a hand of fate or orchestrate the reunion your heart longs for, because this moment is not about them. It is about you, about your own soul's readiness to receive whatever truth is coming, whatever form love will take, and about your willingness to stand in your own power, even as you honor the love you carry. How long have you carried the weight of what was never said between you? The conversations that hover in the air but never found their way to words, the glances that held universes but dissolved into ordinary time, the moments when you felt everything and they seemed to feel nothing, or perhaps they felt everything too but had no language for it, no courage to bridge the distance between their inner world and yours. The angels see the way you have held this connection like a secret flame, tending to it even when the wind threatened to blow it out, even when logic told you to let it go, even when friends and well-meaning voices suggested you were holding on to something that wasn't real. And yet you knew, didn't you? You knew in the marrow of your being that what lived between you was not fantasy, was not projection, was not the desperate invention of a lonely heart, but something ancient and true, something that predates this lifetime and will outlive it, a recognition that happens at the soul level and cannot be explained by the rational mind or justified by conventional timelines of how love is supposed to unfold. And in that knowing, you have endured a particular kind of loneliness, the loneliness of loving someone who cannot yet love you back in the way you need, the loneliness of seeing potential in someone who cannot yet see it in themselves, the loneliness of holding space for a connection that exists in the etheric realms but struggles to find its footing in the material world. And this loneliness has carved you open in ways you did not anticipate, has made you question your worth, your intuition, your very sanity at times. Because how do you trust what you feel when the other person's actions seem to contradict it? When they pull away just as you lean in, when they go silent just as you find your voice, when they seem to choose distance over the intimacy you know you could create together. The angels do not diminish this pain. They do not tell you it was all in your head or that you should have known better. Instead, they honor the courage it takes to love without guarantees, to extend your heart towards someone who has not yet learned how to hold it. And they remind you that what was unspoken between you was not nothing, was not insignificant, but was perhaps too immense to be contained in words, too vulnerable to be risked without certainty, and that the silence you have experience has been as much about their own fear and unreadiness as has been about anything lacking in you. This is the truth the angels want to gently place before you, that the distance was never a reflection of your value, never a measure of your lovability. but always a mirror where they stood in their own journey, in their own capacity to meet love when it arrived, and that you, in your willingness to love anyway, have been a light in their darkness, even if they could not yet turn toward it, even if they ran from it, even if they tried to convince themselves it wasn't real or necessary or meant for them. What does it mean to wait for someone who is not waiting for you? To hold the door open while they wander further into the wilderness of their own confusion, to maintain your faith in a connection while they test every other possibility, every other distraction, every other version of love that does not require them to look at themselves too closely. The angels see how you have made yourself small in this waiting, how you have dimmed your own light to make yourself less threatening, less demanding, more patient, more understanding. How you have told yourself that love is supposed to be unconditional, that true connection requires no expectations, that if you just give them enough space and time, they will eventually find their way back to what you both know is true. And there's nobility in this. There's grace in this. But there's also a slow erosion of self that happens when you love someone more than you love your own peace, when you prioritize their journey over your own healing, when you become so focused on their awakening that you forget to tend to your own soul's needs, your own heart's hunger, your own life's unfolding. The angels are not here to tell you that waiting is wrong, that patience is foolish, that you should harden your heart and walk away with cold resolve. They are here to ask you a gentler, more piercing question. What are you waiting for, really? Are you waiting for them to choose you? Or are you waiting for permission to choose yourself? Are you waiting for them to see your worth? Or are you waiting to remember that your worth has never been contingent on their recognition? Are you waiting for love to arrive from outside yourself? Or are you waiting to acknowledge the love that already lives within you, that has always lived within you, that does not need validation or reciprocation to be real and whole and sufficient? This is the mirror the angels hold up now, not to shame you, not to make you feel foolish for having cared so deeply, but to invite you back to yourself, back to the center of your own life, back to the truth that you are not a supporting character in someone else's story, but the sovereign author of your own, and that whatever decision has been made in the last few hours in the heart of another does not determine your value, your path, your worthiness of a love that meets you fully, consistently, without hesitation or ambivalence. The angels see the beauty in your devotion, but they also see the cost, the way you put your own life on pause, the way you have made yourself available for crumbs when you deserve the whole feast, the way you have accepted intermittent attention as if it were abundance. And they are asking you now, with all the gentleness they possess, to consider what it would mean to stop waiting, not with bitterness or resentment, but with a quiet dignity, a soft reclamation of your own time, your own energy, your own precious life force that has been poured out in service of connection that has not yet found its form and may never find it in the way you have imagined. The message from the angels now is not about what he has decided, what he might do, whether he will reach out or come back, or finally admit what he feels. The message is about you, about the throne you have abdicated in your longing for his love, about the crown you have set aside while you waited for him to place it on your head, about the power you have given away in the hope that he would eventually give it back to you transformed into the love you crave. The angels speak now of sovereignty, of the quiet, unshakable knowing that you are whole without him, complete without his acknowledgement, worthy without a pursuit, and that the love you seek does not need to come from him to be real, to be possible, to be yours. This is not about closing your heart or pretending you don't care. This is about opening your heart wider, wide enough to include yourself in the circle of your own compassion, wide enough to hold both your love for him and your love for yourself without one canceling out the other, wide enough to honor what you feel, while also honoring what you need, what you deserve, what your soul is calling for beyond this one connection, beyond this one person who has occupied so much of your inner landscape. The angels remind you that you are not defined by who chooses you, that your identity is not contingent on external validation, that your worth was established long before this person entered your life and will remain long after, whether they stay or go, whether they wake up or continue to sleep, whether they step into love you have offered or walk away from into the arms of their own lessons and karma. There is a strength in this truth that does not feel like hardness, does not require you to build walls or close doors with finality, but invites you instead into a softer, more grounded way of being, where you can love him and love yourself simultaneously, where you can hope for his awakening without making your happiness dependent on it, where you can release the outcome without relinquishing the connection, trusting that whatever is meant to unfold between you will do so in its own time, in its own way, without your needing to force it, manipulate it, or sacrifice yourself for it. The angels ask you now to reclaim your sovereignty, to step back into the center of your own life, to redirect the energy you have been sending toward and back toward yourself, your healing, your growth, your own unfolding, and to trust that in doing so you are not abandoning a connection, but actually honoring it at a higher level. Because true love does not require self-abandonment, does not ask you to wait indefinitely in uncertainty, does not thrive on one person giving endlessly while the other remains perpetually unsure. If this decision that has been made in the last few hours is a step toward you, you will know soon enough. If it is a step away, you will survive it, and more than survive, you'll discover that your life has been waiting for you to return to it, that your own soul has been calling you home, and that the love you have been seeking outside yourself has been living inside you all along, patient and eternal, needing only your recognition to blossom into something that can sustain you regardless of what any other person chooses to do or not do. And so you stand here now at the threshold of what comes next, not with answers, but with a deeper question, not with certainty, but with a truer kind of faith, the faith that says you'll be okay no matter what unfolds, the faith that trusts in your own resilience, your own capacity to love and be loved, your own worthiness of connection that does not require you to shrink, to wait, to prove, to beg, to convince, but that meets you in your fullness, in your truth, in your power. The angels do not tell you what will happen next because the future is still being written, still being shaped by 1,000 invisible choices, by your energy and his, by divine timing and earthly free will, by what you are ready to receive and what he's ready to give. And there is a humility in this not knowing, a sacredness in the mystery that you are being asked to honor rather than solve. What they do tell you is that you are not alone in this, that you are seen and held by forces greater than you can imagine, that your prayers have been heard even if they have not been answered in the way you expected, and that whatever has been decided in the last few hours is part of a larger unfolding, a divine orchestration that your human eyes cannot yet perceive, but that your soul recognizes as perfect, as necessary, as exactly what needed to happen for all involved to grow, to heal, to evolve into the versions of themselves that can eventually meet in real love, if that is indeed the highest path. The angels ask you now to let yourself rest in this knowing, to release the grip of control, to stop trying to figure it out, to surrender the outcome to something wiser and more loving than your own fear-driven mind, and to simply be here in this moment, breathing alive, still capable of hope and joy and love even in the midst of uncertainty, even in the absence of the resolution you crave. There is something luminous about you in this waiting, something that has been refined and purified by the ache you have carried, and whether this person eventually recognizes it or not, it is there, it is real, it is yours, and it will not be wasted. Take a moment now, if you feel moved, to place one hand on your heart and simply acknowledge what you've been through, the courage it has taken to love without guarantees, the strength it has taken to stay open even when closing off would have been easier, and let yourself be seen in this moment, by yourself, by the angels, by the universe that has been watching your journey with infinite tenderness. And as you prepare to step away from these words and back into your life, know that there is more to come, more wisdom to be revealed, more layers of the story to unfold, and that the next chapter is already beginning to write itself quietly, mysteriously, in ways you cannot yet perceive, but that you will soon come to understand. So stay close, stay open, stay curious, because the angels are not finished speaking, and neither is your story.